You get people. Remember, my sister said that when I came back home because of all the people she goes to church with that work in military intel. They can implant memories in you. They can make you think what they want you to think. Like, we don't live the Lord's Prayer till we're dead in a magic place in the sky, and that Jesus died to pay for us being disgusting, and we don't have enough money and bombs yet to live the Lord's Prayer globally because we haven't killed the people that want to manipulate us with money and bombs, right? Like, because my family used to frustrate me when I first got. She was like, it's like they do this with people that are weak-minded. It's like, okay, and then when I say how come they don't do it with you, it's because they're not weak-minded. It's like, yeah, but I can explain physics better to Stephen Hawking than Stephen Hawking can explain physics to himself. How come they don't do it with you? You're just weak minded. You think that, but nobody acknowledges it or says it. It's like all you have to do is just go to my YouTube channel and let me explain physics to Stephen Hawking and Richard Feynman and why you should listen less to them and more to let's live the Lord's Prayer. Now, catch that pigeon. Catch that pigeon now. Muttley. It's raised on radio and TV. Boop, boop, doo, doo, doo. And Randy Jackson, that's the name of my quarterback on Western Kentucky. He's a junior college transfer. His name is Randy Jackson. Yes. But we all know what I moved him to cornerback for a year, redshirted him. He's 5'10", or 5'11", 178 pounds. He's everybody's Earl's favorite. Lively up yourself. You don't need no dread. That I use for Benjamin Bradley. He's dark, medium, 24. Okay, that's Earl's favorite. I wish they had more guys that had dreads. Like I wish they had it like on 2006, where you can put whatever hairstyle you want on whatever face with whatever color and stuff, and you can. All they have is mullet for long hair. They didn't have ponytail like Tim Toon and EJ Hawk and. What's the other guys? Clay Matthews, right? They don't offer that option. We white people cannot have long hair when we play football, according to Electronic Arts. I think it's an anti-Samson thing. I think they got Samson envy. I think so too. Seriously. Now, no, they still have this. They have black guys with white people hair, and it's all dyed red or blonde or something, and you're like, yeah. Guys, I don't know about you. I live in a town called Las Cruces. We have New Mexico State University, and I've met a lot of the football players on the football team. I've seen them on TV, and I rarely see any black guys with straight hair that they dyed red or blonde. You just know it's just not known. I do see some guys that look like from 2000 and NCAA 14 that look a lot like. Dark, medium, 24. Yeah. A lot of guys, lively up yourself. We won't need no dread. Right? Yeah, especially on defense. Cornerbacks, a lot of cornerbacks have Richard Sherman hair. Thoroughly, they do. It's true. And so, because they don't have to worry about it getting pulled because they're playing defense. And so it seems to be more common. What about TJ Hilton? TJ Hilton, I liked his hair, yeah. BJ Husmanjada, he was one of my favorite players from Oregon State. The one guy who was doing a video thing. It's where Chad Ochocinco went. Okay, Steven Jackson also went to school there too, yo. Yeah. Okay. I think a lot of us that are Oregon State followers, I think our favorite football beaver is probably Steven Jackson. LA Rams, and I think he's from Texas too. I think he's from Texas, but I think he's probably one of our favorite Beaver football players. I like DJ Hosmanzada. He had a good fine pro career. He's a good ball player. At the Jonathan Smith teams, the walk-on quarterback that took him to the glory days, right? I was excited because I'd followed the Beavers for years, and it was the first time they started winning in like forever, like the Mike Bishop. K-State teams with Coach Snyder, they lost forever, and then they started coming in a real good program, and then they fell off again. But yeah, those are the glory days of Mike Bishop with K-State and Jonathan Smith, Steven Jackson, and all them. The glory days with the Beavs and the Wildcats. And that was always the team I rooted for more for my Steffi when she was born. My first wife was born in Kansas. and I followed more the underdog Wildcats, and they were Purple Rain, purple and silver, you know. And they have lavender, which I also like Ronaldo Blackman a lot too. Anybody else like Ronaldo Blackman? Dallas Mavericks, Ronaldo Blackman shoots down in mighty Oregon State, yeah. Ralph Miller's team, yeah. And I really like, everybody knows how I like Steve Johnson. I liked the whole team. I liked Mark Radford, Ray Bloom. What was the guy's name? Allen. I can't remember his first name. He was like my favorite player on the team. His name was Allen. He was like a swing forward, like Johnny Nash on Ned Wilkes, you know. And he was the one guy that didn't have the. He was one of our most energetic players, about 6'7", real good defender. Johnny Nash. Yeah. It's hey. Yeah. So yeah, which who's also one of my favorite singers. But yeah, and the Zenos. I liked Mike and Tony. Tony played for ASU and Mike played for U of A. Yeah, the Zenos. Yeah, they were good ball players. And so yeah, back in the day when I was dumb, we're not dumb anymore. Never wish you were dumb again. Reminiscing this and that and having such a good time. I was talking to Dad. I was out there at It's Butters. I took Butters some water and set it under the truck. And now he doesn't run whenever he sees me come out of the house now. He sees me and he looks at me. You know, so I gave him water. Yeah. I'm his Esmeralda, his Quasimodo, you know. He gave me water. He gave me water. You know, that's the most famous line from not the Hunchback of Notre Dame, but the Hunchback of Notre Dame. You know, the real play, the real tragic, horrible play. I remember seeing that yeah. You ever seen the actual play of Victor Hugo's The Hunchback of Notre Dame? I never read the book myself, but I had seen the play. And I was like, oh God, that is so tragic and horrible. But she gave me water, you know. Someone showed him kindness and he didn't want it to go away. And she was a gypsy girl, Esmeralda. And it's very tragic because he didn't want to let it go. You know, she was pretty, she was a gypsy girl. And she gave him water. She showed pity to him and she gave him water, and he wanted her to stay. He didn't want her to, what's wrong with me? You know, it's a very sad story. You know, it's nothing like the Disney version with Kevin Kline and Demi Moore and all that stuff. No, it's very, 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 very tragic and horribly sad. Yeah. It's depressing as hell. The actual real Hunchback of Notre Dame, you know, Victor Hugo's Hunchback of Notre Dame. You know, the lies we tell ourselves, the things that we hide. You know, the skeletons we keep in our closet, the elephantitis, the cause of disease, the source of disease, the source of death, murder, kill. And yet we always tell ourselves that, you know, when we're responsible for something, that they're cursed by the devil and we're the angels of mercy and God when we go put them out of their misery, or things like they've been doing this for tens of thousands of years. Kids with birth defects and leave them on rocks because they're not good enough because God cursed them. And it wasn't because half the girls and guys in the village were jealous of their parents and made the pregnancy really bad, or put stuff in their food to make the baby have birth defects because they knew what caused birth defects. Observe, analyze, and process, like the assholes on Mel Gibson's Apocalypto movie, and you're like, okay, you made the Passion of the Christ and Apocalypto, and you can call the North America, the people on this side of the continent on their hypocrisy, but you can't call the people where you originated from in sexual tribalism on their hypocrisy. Something must be wrong with the water down under, huh? Okay. What's going on there? So you have to get with that way with people. You have to let them understand, But I was talking to Dad earlier, and I went in there and I said, Dad, I do feel some empathy. I feel empathy for all the people on TV with their dysfunctional sex lives for money that made my sex life absolutely horrible. It's like, at least I've never slept with a genocidal, home invading, tech billionaire mass murderer. That's true. They said Amy was a really bad person. It's like, no, Amy was abused by really bad people and wanted to commit suicide and said she was a schizophrenic and that she was going to have to commit suicide because it was never going to stop and go away. And I'd always say, your kids are too cute, and talk her out of it. And she said, I'm not going to live to be 29. I'm going to die before I'm 29. And she kept doing that. And they kept sending her and having her institutionalized and all this and saying, you're her husband, sign up to have her institutionalized. And I couldn't do it. And every time I didn't do it, she would reward me by running around and sleeping with other guys and coming home pregnant and saying I did it. And everybody's like, well, what did you get from it? Well, I got a Chuji bear, a Plissy Plim, a Katie bug, and a crummy cake. What'd you get out of it? A bad science project that trapped you in hell because Rockefeller slammed the door shut before I even put boots on the ground in Cochise County, I'll tell you that. Oh, Rothschild and Rockefeller knew, just like Mr. Ponce and Ron. This guy will get it done. Yeah, he is not a self-righteous hypocrite with a comic book pretending to be Pop Staples, being a big, gospel singer. He's got golden fingers to write the perfect, song to make $10 million to donate $500,000 to charity and write it off on his taxes, right? How Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes of you, right? How Barry Gordy of you, how hey, Motown of your records, right? You break another record. And so, when people, truth is truth and lie is lie, and you get all these people, how do you know your life? They told me back at Sierra Vista, they can program people like they program a video game and you can't get them to do anything they want to do. How do you know Ali Shadiq or whatever, that comedian, if his dad and his mom talking about the crab and shit like that? I ran into things with that crab when I was in Cochise County. But how do you know your mom and dad weren't programmed by screenwriters at Fort Huachuca to make you a comedian? Because they had the genetic sequencing to say this guy would make an excellent comedian. Denzel Vishnu. So how do you know that anything you've done in your life was you? Maybe you're just Eddie Murphy and you're actually regurgitating the funny of all the people that made you funny. And then even when you were still funny after that, they were just, using hypnosis to promote their political social agendas through making you an icon for tribal, secular, genocidal warfare, by making Harlem Nights, by making propaganda-laced movies that promote violent sex cult, tribal or stereotypes. You know what I'm saying? Help players of your club. The only one that really understood it as far as social media moguls, when I'd sit on the back, I thought it was Mark, but no, Mark Zuckerberg would go, no, I've outsmarted the old fuck. It was Jeff Bezos. Jeff would go, God damn, I am Ronald Reagan's fart. Shit, I want to be me and I don't want to be Ronald Reagan's fart. It's like, I totally agree, Jeff Bezos. I would rather be me than Ronald Reagan's fart any day of the week. So Jeff Bezos was the only one that sat there and took it personally. When I'd walk around that parking lot, sit on the back of that Ford and say, they set you up. And the other people, yeah, but I fixed it. I corrected it. Are you standing up for a Lord's Prayer? Well, then you haven't corrected it. The only person, they tried to set me up, guys. I said a prayer once because I was trying to get a basketball scholarship, but it was being manipulated by all the demonic and selfish and cult-driven things that were always getting in my way. Okay, you'll find that's how it happens. If the Mormon Church hadn't had a virtual presence in my family's domicile, we would have probably never left Las Cruces. Mom and Dad would have got money through the Homer. The Homer Jordan stuff. I don't know what would happen. Mom and Dad wanted to end up in Thule. We probably would have ended up in Thule. I'd been the star in Thule. The star, probably, I don't know. As far as New Mexico State, I think if they came a courting, if it went to New Mexico State, NRU, or Western New Mexico, I probably would have told them the mountain campuses to just have fun. Whatever coach was the most fun. And whatever coach let me, Guy Lewis, that's where, like Clyde, I would have gone to whichever university that had a coach that would have let me Guy Lewis. We're here to run. Let's get you out there and let's run. Throw that ball, dunk the damn thing. That's the type of coach I would have played for. Yeah, a renegade program with let's get out there and let's run and let's dunk. And that was the type of guy I was, like busting loose Of course, that never would have happened, but I did play at busting loose. From tip to buzzer. That's all we did was run, press, and run, press, and run, press, and run. Like Denny Crumb's Croons, That's where I wanted to play for Denny Crumb or Larry Brown, who was also a progeny of old Wooden. Let the kids play and use their athleticism and let them do what they can do well with their athleticism. And that's the kind of coach I needed, not somebody who saw me as a chess piece, but oh wow, I've got a kid that's better than other kids at his position. I'm going to take advantage of this, and I'm going to, and if other kids, no, you can't do that. Let Earl do that. Okay, you do what you're good at. Okay, that's why I like teammates like Ray. Ray would go sit in his spot. And, like Kevin Ronas with Daniel Mullins, he would go get in his spot, and, you would attack the basket, and here he is in his spot, and you just take your left hand and just soft as you please, and then he always had to, how the coach did with the girl on Love and Basketball, coach would do his hand and watch it, like most shooters do, but coach would bench him if he did that. So he would run real fast, and his head would go back. My dad loved it. He goes, every time he hits a shot, I was like, yeah, he's running like hell back on defense, because he knows coach will bench him if he does this and watches his shot, he benches him. I'm like, that sucks, man. I know he makes a shot, and because he watched it, the coach would bench him. It was like, God dang, yeah, how Bobby of his night. I know. I loved Coach Rasper, but it was like, seriously, he can't sit there and enjoy it. It's pretty, coach. If he's hitting them all, I was just like, it's okay. I me, I got back on defense, coach. It's good. Just let Ray watch his shot. Just let Ray just sit there for just a little bit. Just a little bit. Just a little bit, He wasn't showing off. It was just how Ray shot. And then afterwards, he just kind of, followed through. And he wasn't being cocky. It was just Ray. It was just the way he shot. He had a beautiful shot. He had a beautiful follow through. So I didn't mind it at all. I thought, dang, but Dad liked it even more when he ran back on defense and his head would go back and forth. He goes, his head goes, yeah, he's running like hell, because he wasn't the most athletic. So he's running as fast as he can, and his head would go back and forth. He'd take off because he didn't want to get benched. He wanted to stay out there and play, and who can blame him, right? I liked Ray a lot. I liked Charlie a lot, and I liked Tony and John a lot. They were fun, and they were good teammates. And the guards were not. No, the guards were. But that was just, McDaly and Donnie High. Is everywhere I went. Same at Mayfield. Me and the bigs, me and Waylon Robinson. He was playing. Me and Waylon would jump, and we were the two jumpers that would jump up and grab the rim, smack the backboard, grab the rim, and Waylon was shorter than me. Yeah, but he went to he was like in foster care thing. He ended up going to in MI. He ended up going to Roswell. And I was like, oh man, Waylon gone. I liked Waylon. He was the one that the girls would also spike the ball in his face when we play volleyball. We'd jump up and look at each other over the net, we'd jump up, hey, I'm gonna, we play against each other. And the girls would always spike in our face like, that hurt. They'd laugh, That's what you get for jumping so high. Yeah, maybe we ought to, yeah. They were cute. Oh, the girls, yeah, they used to spike in our faces all the time. That hurt, because they'd be jumping as high as they could, and we'd jump up, and you're like, smack! It's like, oh, shit. Did we score? Was it worth it? No, but we scored, right? we got the side out. Side out. No, so smack that. All right, why'd you got to hit it so high? No, we had fun at Mayfield. I had more fun at Mayfield than I did at Cruces, yes, my sophomore year than I did my junior year. Cruces was the old established hoity-toits, and from the university and all that. Mayfield was the kids the families that were buying new houses out of the, out of the established thing, and White Sands, which is now Oñate, or no, I'm sorry, Oregon Mountain, sorry. Yeah. Mayfield ain't Mayfield no more. No, Mayfield is the projects and then the poor people, and they lost their edge because they lost the kids from, they lost that edge they had because they lost the military athletes. and they also lost the military, debate team and all. Mayfield had the edge all the time because they got all the military athletes at like Clovis and now in Oregon Mountain, it was they diluted the talent pool, so it kind of took away from it and stuff. And then in Oregon Mountain they had the kids from Oregon Mountain must have been tough to go to because you had all the guys from White Sands and all the guys at Oregon. So let me get this straight. There's 5 of you and 1 of me, so the earth is flat. Right, white boy? Shit. So Jimmy, so all the science rockets geeks went to school with all the guys at Oregon. We get religious stuff from the little child molester from the bank at the, okay. Oh, it must have been hell to go to Oñate. Poor Buddy and Johnny McCann. It must have been hell on earth. At least in Cruces, you had a few locals who went to the ghetto and they were kind of like, no, man, the earth is round. My cousins up in Butterfield are just dumb as fuck. Yeah. What? But yeah, Mayfield is pretty much the projects, and it's. But they took all their top athletes away. All their top athletes are, probably going to Centennial now. Most likely, yeah. Because they can set up and go to the best school for the best opportunities to play. Like they do at, what's the name of that? Oak Hills Academy, Morgan Wooten and all that shit. Yeah. It happens. Like they have in Phoenix now. They have something academy, yada yada academy, feeder school academy, Pokemon Academy. Yeah, so they have all these new Pokemon UAA group, so now they got all these feeder things and all this stuff because Rockefeller, instead of going the exact opposite direction, standing up for a living Messiah that was on social media on the down low and the underground, better than Dennis Leary. Oh, hell yeah, better than Dennis Leary. I have a way better personality than Dennis Leary. I have courage of I'm compassionate, I'm kind, I'm romantic. I was the best dancer at every school I went to, and the worst reputation at Sternberg. Yeah, I was the best dancer with the worst reputation. Yeah, that was pretty much me. I was Cha-Cha Rodriguez or whatever. I don't remember what her name was. But you had a crush on her, didn't you? She was pretty, yeah. And so, do the hand job, baby. And, yeah. So, sex life, it's different. I was out there hanging the laundry. It's like, oh, yeah, wow, that's horrible. I've been to paradise, never been to having sex with genocidal operators that are addicted to home invasion and making my life miserable because they are, technically, I guess, in a technical sense, they are jealous of me because they covet what I earned over tens of thousands of years and they didn't earn it. So is that a form of jealousy? Envy? Something? I don't know. I don't know how to, I don't want to look at it. I don't like to look at it. I don't want to, I just sit there and go, oh, look, what an interesting picture. Think I'm going to win an award? Yeah, well, let's worry less about winning awards and taking pictures. And let's just make sure we restore the integrity of our polar ice caps so we can have more fresh water, less pollutants, less genocidal operations, and less people running around Morocco and Spain and having people talk about it on the news. It's like, you've been impulsed. What are you doing? I'm impulsing you. Move. When I move, you move. It's mooge, bitch. It out the way, bitch. It out the way. Shh, don't sing that in front of your church lady grandma. Okay. It's funny. Oh, what do you know for funny? And so, but yeah, sex life. Yeah, sex life. Guys, I had a better sex life in my life. In my life, I loved you more than Jennifer Lopez has ever had. Okay. I had sex with women that were trying to be, mothers and wives, and, I had sex with women that were trying their best, okay, to be with somebody that loved them. Okay. Jennifer Lopez has never had sex with a person that loved her in her life. Okay. They talk about it, but they don't love. They will fuck around on you. They will, if you don't do everything they want you to do, they'll leave you. She doesn't, if you don't, yeah. My wife's are like that because shit rolls downhill. But my wife's tried, but we didn't have a snowball's chance in hell. We lived in Phoenix, for crying out loud. Just kidding around, but you know what I mean? And so, the Pentagon was in every bedroom, right? And stuff like that. And, these people were used for propaganda for genocide that's still happening. But they've had some of the best sex lives in the whole world. We've heard about it. There's songs and movies written about it, sitcoms, yeah. Okay, but you haven't stood for the Lord's Prayer a day in your life, and you haven't been touched or kissed or been affectionate with a man that devoted his entire eternity to you living the truth of perfect, faithful, romantic, intimate, private love, right? So, yeah. So, Amy getting to come to my apartment at Casa Mia was better than dinner with Gershwin, Rimbaud, Scratch, and talking through a Curie. Of course, talking through a Curie. It's like, what do you want to do now? Well, I'm praying for the end of time. I'm praying for the end of time. I am. 2 out of 3 ain't bad, right? I'm feeling very Jim Steinham today. But yeah, it's like, yeah, you know what I mean? So, yeah, and Law and Steffi both said it. It's like, Law told Steffi, she goes, it's hard. You want to be in a relationship with him, but it's like making love to Jesus. Okay. Is what Yolanda Denise Gilliard told Steffi before she went to go be with me. She goes, you think you can handle it, but I don't think you can, Steffi. You try to make love with this guy, it's like making love to, you feel like you're making love to Jesus. That's what it feels like when you're in the bedroom with Earl, is what Yolanda Denise Gilliard told Stephanie Elaine Gilliard. And president of the Mormon Church had to hear that. The Pope had to hear that. The head of West Point had to hear that. The head of HARPS at Peterson Air Force Base in Colorado Springs had to hear that. He's like Jesus. He's the gracious good shepherd. He's going to keep children safe from bad actors and bad people. Well, because I'm one source, of course. Well, there's no God but God, and God's not begotten, nor is God begotten. God always is, always has been, and always will be. Marcus Welby, are you feeling like... Rampart, we have an emergency stat. You know what I'm saying? 1 out of 12, 1 out of 12. We have a 311 in progress. Just live the Lord's Prayer. Sounds wonderful. Let's do it. Then we don't have to listen to Snoop Dogg write songs about what to talk about. Well, what do you call it? A song about 187. Yeah, there you go. Seriously, sex life for a nickel or a dime. Sex life. I love Randy Crawford and Street Life. That's a good song. It's a very good song. I like the Crusaders. Me too. I like good jazz. Yeah, me too. It's better when it's public domain and nobody asks for any music, and we eliminate the server because money's not real, but our time is, and privacy is restored because we're living the ways of the sword. Hallelujah. Look at that. What a bridge. What a bridge. What a mighty big bridge. Yeah. With lights. Lights. Camera. Action. Make it stop. I'm working on it, man. I'm working on it. It's getting done. I'm not only one man. Life's eternal and grace is infinite. I'm the spirit of Adam, Moses, David, Jesus, John. And if you don't believe that, well, then you're not going to feel the rapture when the line of, Ruth's line, the grandson of, Mildred Kramer does the same thing that the line of Ruth did back in the Roman Empire. You're not going to feel it. You're not going to get you're not going to feel the rapture. Well, because you're going to want it to be you instead of me. I want you to feel the rapture because I want you to stand up with me for that which is right. See, there's the nice thing about that, there's not a pot with a rock with a little Irish limerick running around going, here you go at the end of me rainbow there, here to, ooh. Just enjoy the beauty of the colors. Okay. It's all God's creation, and that's what I love. And that's what I love. My love is the valley. I like Murray Robbins too. That's a good song. Yeah, it is. Yeah, I like it. Yeah. So I love every trill. I get a lot of that from birds out here this year. They get lots of trills. Yeah. Yeah. It's all God's creation, and that's what I love. What I love is the truth of life and faithful people, that you can enjoy loving people through a faithful woman. That's what I love. Um, if you look at that rainbow and there's no woman to have children with, the love of the source of that rainbow dies with your lonely eyes, right? So don't be a monk or a priest or a pope or, you know, for show kind of addict out there. Be like girl, you know, love women, love children, teach them the truth so they can faithfully love one another eternally through holy covenants. As far as the fornication and all that stuff, guys, what they're basically saying is don't use people for sex. That's what fornication is. Okay? Adultery is once you commit to a sexual relationship, you don't go having sex with other people. It's that simple. Okay? Fornication is using people for sex, promising something which like, well, tonight you're mine completely. That's fornication. People tell me that you really know the right things to say, especially when you're trying to get your way, right? And you could be in a room full of hypocrites, sexually reproducing with a guy who reads a book all the time, calls himself God, says he's Jesus, said God is Jesus, and Jesus lives through his having sex with you and torturing you because that sex manual was written by Constantine in Rome and not lived by someone like Earl. Go figure. Sex life for a nickel or a dime. So, that fairy tale. If you haven't, you should. Randy Crawford and the Crusaders, Street Life. If you have taste, you will like it. If you have no taste, you'll be like, what is this man talking about? Nothing. You're God and you've got it all figured out and your sex life is perfect. And it's, yeah, like I told you, I hated that with these hypocrites here in Cruces, my poor sister, but she was that way before these hypocrites. Her sex life was a romance novel and your sex life was a porno. Really? Well, I would like to think that your sex life is a romance novel and that my sex life is a romance novel too. Now, you don't have to, I don't want to read your romance novel, and I sure the hell don't want you reading mine. Okay? But you do know you go to church with porn, pornography, You go to church with Larry Flint and Hugh Hefner. Well, there's a thing called money, and you guys always need more of it. There's this beauty called love. And I ask you to stand up for the Lord's Prayer with me, and none of you will do it. So my romance is on hold because of your pornography. And that's just the way it is. And that's the way it is. This has been Walter Cronkite tonight, and it hasn't stopped yet. Oh, you think we're going to win an Edward R. Murrow Award? I think you're dumb enough to want to win one. Are you intelligent enough to watch the 1322nd and Me's channel and want that for your family eternally? There's no such thing as artificial intelligence. Are you intelligent? Stephanie, are you okay? Stephanie Valle, are you intelligent enough? Did you try to tell people about me, but they wouldn't listen? They're not listening. They didn't listen. They're not listening still. Perhaps they never will. Don't worry about it. I'm fixing quantum computing, baby girl. I got it covered. I love your kids as much as I love Patrick. That's sure saying a lot because you love Patrick unconditionally. Right. Edward R. Murrow Awards. Yeah, tell Clooney to go shopping and never stopping to buy. Well, it's public domain and CareShare giving, of course, the to last. So, Georgie girl can, shed those dowdy feathers and fly a little bit. Hey there, Georgie girls. There's another Georgie deep inside. Don't try to win awards that you think you're the sexiest man alive because of a magazine. You're like Hugh Hefner scene. Wake up, Georgie girl. There's a new Georgie girl. You're not a man of Costa Sorrow. Your auntie sings better than you. You know that, right? Hey there, you with the stars in your eyes. Yeah, she does it. She's from one of my Emily Gracie's favorite movies. Snow, snow. Yeah. God help the sister who comes. God help the mister who comes between me and my sister, and God help the sister that comes between me and my man. Window shoppers, stop shopping. Start standing for the Lord's Prayer. You will have better intimacy, privacy, and romance, and then your sex life will be your life and not for sale. Okay, I love you guys. Peace out. It's gorgeous. I know. It's okay. I understand. I'm that cat, man, Carol. Not a real cat, but the cat that knows where it's at. You know what I'm saying? Okay, I love you. All right. Peace out, man. All right.